To calibrate the speed of your CNC spindle, you need one of these, which is a tachometer or tachometer of the sort that model aircraft enthusiasts use to measure the speed of their propellers. Switch it on. You can choose how many blades. I'm choosing 2 blades because I've made this simulated propeller to go into the spindle, and I'll measure the speed of that. I'll put a file on Thingiverse. It's relatively easy to make one yourself. Just make sure it's well balanced, otherwise it'll shake itself to pieces. So I'll put that in the spindle now and show you how to measure the RPM. So I'm ready to start measuring now, but if you look at the tachometer, you'll see it's registering a figure of 300. Now we multiply that by 10, so it's telling me that already we're going at 3000 RPM. Obviously we're not, because the router spindle hasn't even been switched on. Now that's actually measuring the speed of my industrial lighting, which is LED lighting, going at 3000 Hertz. So when we measure the speed of the spindle, we need to make sure that we're using analog light or natural light, sunlight. I've got myself a little torch here, so I'm going to use that light and switch off the lighting, which I'll do now, show you. I don't know if you can still see that, it's a bit darker, but you'll see it's now registering 0 Hertz. So I'll clip the tachometer using a bit of Velcro into the spindle in a nice position to measure the speed, and I'll start the spindle. You won't be able to hear me talking then, but you should be able to see the speed at which the spindle is going when I alter it. You can then calibrate the software if you're using a software to drive the speed of the spindle, or as in my case I've got a manual spindle controller. Just regulate the speed with that. It's not marked up with the RPM, so I can put the markings of the RPM onto it. So let's go. So that's speeded up to about 1400 on the tachometer. Multiply by 10, 14,000 RPM. I'll try it at a different speed now. That was a little bit more difficult to get a stable reading. Had to get the light shining nicely on the propeller. We got a speeding of about 24,000 revs there. We can take it up to 30,000, but I think you get the idea. You can now calibrate your software or calibrate your spindle controller.